I have some favorite cities. Um, for instance, if I would go with my wife to a city, I would probably pick up Venice, because I think it's very romantic. If I would like to go for excellent food, I would go to Paris. And surprisingly, I also like Singapore very much. One of the unique things in Singapore, maybe you don't see it as a local person, the architecture is not giving ever the feeling of a town that is closing you in. There's a lot of space in between and a lot of trees. And you always get the feeling that there's a lot of space around you, which is not very, it's not for granted in other cities. In other cities there are buildings and buildings and buildings, and it's crowded and very sort of pressing you. First of all, I think a designer can work probably in any environment. A unique environment can invigorate, can be a sort of a catalysator, to sort of give special moods that might influence the design, or just be in a very good mood. If you're in a good mood, according to my experience, when you're in a good mood, you get good design results. When you're in a bad mood, you can write poetry maybe. I think that I would like to share some of my own experience. In my personal experience, I had problems with my joints. I couldn't open a bottle of Coca-Cola. So, and then when there is a product like Better Grips, and you just open it and you don't feel your limitation, it made me very happy. I guess that even for other people, if they can accomplish something, it could be opening a bottle, it could be accomplishing something with a computer that they didn't think they could accomplish, and somebody made a very good user interface system that helped the person who normally would fail with computers get the mission done, or get this experience happen. And it makes people happy. It makes people feel that they are not stuck with technology, or stuck with limitations, or stuck with any other reason because they cannot understand something, or because they cannot remember something. And usually when you cannot do something, you have to ask somebody else to help you with it. And it's not always comfortable to ask somebody else for help. It's actually a kind of discrimination. When there is a phone that is very easy for young people, that means the designer has made a big mistake. He did not do his job properly, because of course it's very easy to design for, if you're talking about digital gadgets and equipment, of course it's easier to design for young people who have a very good memory. They don't even read the manual, they understand what they have to do even without reading it in most cases. The visual language of the object is very well known to them, as compared to elderly people who not necessarily understand the visual language, the new visual language of interfaces, iPads, iPhones, smartphones, whatever. And so if there is no solution for a large part of potential users of a product, the designer failed. Well, this is the exact big mistake of industry or industry leaders, that they are stuck in the old paradigm that the young generation is the big market. The young generation would buy in a sort of irresponsible way. As long as they like it, they will buy it. And this is not correct anymore. First of all, there is a very enormous market. We're talking now about Europe and the United States. We're talking about something like 160 million baby boomers who are over 60. They are people who have money. They are people who are willing to pay even more for products that won't embarrass them, because they don't like to feel incapacitated. They don't like to feel that they are already irrelevant with all the new technologies and all the new gadgets that are around, because they want to stay in. They go to fitness clubs because they want to have a good figure. They want to stay connected to lifestyle because they grew with it. So they will never ever buy a product that will label them. So the designer has to find a solution that is good for young people and is good for old people. So I would say that it's a question of awareness, first of all, of the designer. It's a question how much the designer managed to convince the manufacturer that this is an enormous business opportunity. It's a big market, and it would be absolutely stupid to ignore that market. And third, we know already what works good for elderly people works fantastic for young people. That's an axiom. That's very easy. Like in any project, you start with learning your market and your and the stakeholders, because designers are a young generation. That's a well-known fact. They can recruit their own experience. So if they have to design for elderly people, the first thing they have to acknowledge is, I don't know. I also don't know how a person who is 80 feels. So if I have to design for somebody who is 80, I cannot recruit my own experience. So first of all, they have to acknowledge the fact that they have to go out into the field, interview, learn. We have made a very simple test together with my students in the university. And in the first phase, there was a subject who was 18 years old and a subject who was 75. They had gotten verbal order, press the red button. Both of them did it more or less in the same time. On the second phase, they got a note folded in four. In the note, it said, press the green button. And then it took the guy who was 75 more than twice the time until he unfolded the paper, until he read and registered exactly what his task is, and until he operated it. Now, we're talking about milliseconds. We're talking about milliseconds. But if you add one action and another action and another action, it adds into minutes. And this is exactly the place where they start to lose confidence. I found that dealing with management is even easier than dealing with designers. Because if you go to management and you come with an Excel chart, they say this is what happens with the population in the next 5 years. And they see the increase in lifespan of baby boomers. people who will continue their life, continue buy products because they want to and because they can, if they find a suitable product, because they're very savvy consumers, and they say, with my money, I can get things that are suitable for me. I'll tell you something. My mathematical teacher once said to me, "Your hand is good for a hat."